Those are the ones that we have for this, are the speakers right now.
Okay, thank you, Esther.
You're welcome.
So myself, I'm Shamika Andrews, and Alan Fontaine. We are going to facilitate this this next workshop. So Alan, would you like to ask our first question? Why I get my screens updated.
Code now. What?
Is Alan on? Alan, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I am, man. I'm Alan Fontaine, Grassroots Federation for the Think Rights.
Okay, thank you, Alan. All right, so can we have our, we're going to go through our speakers and have you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourselves. Can we go with Stephanie first?
Hello, my name is Stephanie Speaker. I'm a self-advocate. I'm also a former AmeriCorps member.
Okay, thank you. JR.
Hi, I'm J.R. Drexelius. I'm an attorney. I'm actually currently a registered lobbyist. However, from 1985 through 2020, I served in the state senate as counsel to various state senators, and I also had a brief stint in the Buffalo's office of the Attorney General with Dennis Vacco. So from 2000 to 2008, I had an office overlooking the fourth floor of the Capitol. So I have a real insider's view of how the legislature operates in Albany.
All right, thank you. And Kevin.
Oh, I'm unmuted.
Hi, I'm Kevin Greenstein.
Unmute?
I'm unmuted.
No, okay.
Hi, I'm someone. Hi, I'm Kevin Greenstein.
Nice to meet you, Kevin. Thank you for joining us. Is Larry with you as well?
I'm on, but I'm not at Kevin's computer. I'm on my own computer. But anyway, I'm Kevin's father, and together we do a lot of reaching out to legislators.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us. And our final speaker is Jessica.
So, my name is Jessica Campbell. I'm the Long Island Field Assistant for SANYS, but I also receive services through AHRC Nassau and AHRC Citizens, and I sit on the AHRC Board of Directors, and I'm also very involved in managed care for I guess Long Island and New York State.
Okay. I'm going to turn it over to Alan to ask our next question.
Why is it important to you to talk to the legislators, well, and directors? That is for everybody.
Fucking muted me.
All right. So
Stephanie, you want us to first?
I didn't hear the question. What was that?
Why is it?
Alan, you want to
Why
repeat?
is it important to you to talk? Why is it important to you to talk to the legislators and directors of the agencies?
Because you when you talk to legislators, you get things done. like with me, I talk to legislators because I have the bill that's in the assembly and the Senate. And I try to, they can help us more than the assembly people and senators work for you. So you go to them and you try to get things done.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. Chair,
Well, I think
same question. Why is it important?
sure. Thanks, Alan. I
to
think that
talk to the legislators or
I'm not sure that I can really speak to the question of why to speak to the agencies, but I can talk about why you want to speak to the legislators. It's really the question, why should you lobby? And there's really two reasons that you really want to do it. Virtually every aspect of our lives, every institution, every activity of human existence is affected by government. And every conceivable cause has its advocates, and the competition is endless. The causes AIDS, school funding, drug abuse, government operation, healthcare. It just goes on and on and on. And if you don't get your point of view is not heard, someone else's point of view is going to get heard. And that point of view is going to set priorities in government. So it's critically important that you be engaged and active participant in legislative advocacy. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is for you to be involved and to talk to your legislators about the issues that affect your daily lives.
Hello, I am tired of being muted. Can I speak, please?
I'm not sure who that is, but
yeah, I've been trying to get into your meeting for the past 2 hours. Some smart aleck didn't give me the right codes.
Okay, ma'am, I'm not sure who you are, but I apologize that you've had issues getting in. But we're keeping people muted because we're having a presentation, and we want to make sure that our presenters are being heard. So I apologize if you were having tech issues. I know people were having tech issues. We do have people behind the scenes that you can reach out to if you are having tech issues. Again, I apologize. I'm glad you're with us, but I apologize that you had issues before. But we want to continue with our presentation. All right. We were. Alan, go ahead and continue to our next speaker with your question.
Hi.
Hi, Kevin. Do you want to answer that question? Why do you think it's important to talk to legislators?
Because right now we are out broke. We are trying to get the stimulus through. And our government isn't helping us. And now and the President Francis and team is hurting it too. And we really need to get it through sooner rather than later.
Jessica, why is it important to talk to your legislators or directors?
Okay, Alan, so I actually belong to what they call a compass agency. So one of the important things I think about talking to a board of directors is that they understand that it should be written into your mission statement, certain aspects of being a person with disabilities and being on the board. The other, I guess the other aspect is understanding where housing money comes from, where services money comes from. So it's very important, those things that I can bring, all those elements of things that places where I network from, like self-direction, like they had, to the director, and so he understands what are the most important issues.
Thank you, guys. All right. So Stephanie, you've made relationships with several legislators to get sponsors for your bill to extend paratransit services. How were you able to, could you tell us a little bit about that process? How were you able to get these meetings with these legislators?
Well, you call up your senator, your main senator, and you ask him if he could meet with you. How it started with me, I went to Mickey Kearns and I called him up when he was an assemblyman, and I asked him if I could set up a meeting with him and that so we could get better paratransit service out here. I asked him if we could do something. He said, sure. He goes, do you want to do it right now? And I said, sure, let's work on it. So then I called my other assembly people and I asked them if we can set up meetings with them. And they said yes. So I went down and I went to meet with them. And when they tell me I have to go to Albany, I go to Albany and I meet with them out there.
Thank you, Stephanie. All right, I'm going to turn it back over to Alan to ask our next question.
Kevin, you talk to the legislators all the time. Were you ever nervous? The first time you talked to you about what did you like about it now? What do you like about it now?
Hey, this is Arnold. So it seems that Alan's having a bad connection. I know, and a lot of times there's a lot of interference. Do you have the question?
Yeah, you can.
Keep them on his behalf so everyone can hear the question.
Okay, yeah, I can repeat it. Sure. So this question is for Kevin. And the question is, Kevin, you've talked to legislators all the time. Were you nervous the first time you did it? And what were some of the things that you like about it now?
The first time, because we didn't round up to because I partner in policy meeting.
And what was that?
With you, Dasita, and I was done like work and like starting and because I was starting we were starting the interview with disabilities educational, I passed down in the federal level.
That's great.
Kevin used to travel to Washington when he was like 11 years old with me to lobby. So he's been doing it a long time, and I don't think he gets nervous.
Well, that's good. That's good. That's a good thing. All right. So our next question for you, Kevin, you talked about your project with SARTEC, teaching people about this. So that you have a short PowerPoint for us, right? with some do's and don'ts. So we'll pull that up so you can walk us through it.
Yes. This is a Selfadvocacy of New York State. This organization, and then the African, and then the Selfadvocacy Center is a part of this part of Selfadvocacy become empowered. This is a federal organization. State and federal organization, and the person is also Anne Trial. Do be prepared. Time be aware of your but and then do be prepared to onto your body language. Okay.
Another tip, right? Another tip is to do what?
That's appropriately.
Giving tips to people to speak to legislators.
How much time you have? So it's to highlight new issue. They do have pizzas for it. They do have pizzas of people. That's what I inserted in for my delivery. And I also inserted captions.
Yeah, read what it is. That's not a suggestion.
To new ideas and suggestions. To new ideas and suggestions. Don't expect instant results. Things take time. Don't be afraid to say I don't know. Say I'm not sure. That's why all you found self-evident. Good manners. Don't think your solution is the only one. That's having your community. And making your voting machines more so because it couldn't fill out the ballot manually. Due to my efforts as a statewide extension and the old voting machines for non-passing elections.
Okay, thank you, Calvin. That was really good information.
It's me, and thank you, my father.
Yes. Glad that you are both here with us today. All right. All right. So our next question is for JR. JR, what are some tips that you would give people for meeting with legislators?
Kevin did a great job on a lot of that. I would say, know your audience and know your issues. Be aware of different perspectives. Remember to say thank you afterwards. But and also, and I would also, you want to know who you're going to meet with. Is it the chair of the committee? Is it a member of the committee that's of interest to the issue you want? do they support your position? Do they not really have a position? So you got to kind of advocate for on their behalf to get them to support your position, or maybe they oppose your position. And who you bring in who can influence that legislator. The legislators listen to constituents. So if you're coming from New York City and you're going into the office of an upstate member, you want to bring an upstate member, a constituent from that upstate member who also has the same issue, and the two you can then tag team the issue with them. Those are. And I think it's important to say that there's very few citizens who take the time to schedule a face-to-face meeting with their public officials. Yet that is critically important, and it will show the official that this is an important issue. It's a chance for you to really have a conversation with that individual. And they do represent you, so they want to hear from you and they want to hear your issue. And guess what? That you know the issue far better than they do. And so you should be you shouldn't be nervous, as Kevin says. You walk in there and you have all the knowledge. So you're providing knowledge to the legislator or the legislative staffer about an issue that you need to get resolved, that you need a law passed, as Stephanie talked about in terms of paratransit, as Kevin talked about in terms of election voting machines. It's an opportunity to have a discussion. I also think you got to be careful with the legislators, because they have ways to, they have a short period of time, whether it's 15 minutes or 30 minutes. I know legislators you'll come in, you say hi, and then they'll start talking, they'll give a talk for 15 minutes. Meanwhile, you haven't been able to get your issue in. So you need to be able to get your ask in there early. And if the legislator's moving off target or off point, wants to talk about, having gone to a SANYS event 6 months ago, you want to bring them back to, well, I know that I'm glad to hear that you went to that event. I'm glad you liked that event, but we really need this bill that would provide X, okay? So those are just some common sense items that I can add, and there's a number of other issues that I could raise, but in the interest of time, I want to take some questions later. I think I'll stop there.
Thank you. We are, okay. I want to just, all right, so our next question is for Jessica. Jessica, you meet regularly with your agency director. How did you go about doing this, and how often are the board meetings that you go to?
So basically, like I said before, we're a compass agency, and I was noticed because I'm in a lot of mutual, I do a lot of mutual networking with SANYS, with CQL, with the Council of Party, CQL, the Council of Party and Leadership. I've done stuff with Partners in Policy Making. I've done stuff with Partners Health Plan, and then noticed all these different things in the way I network. And said, well, that's what we love. We like that girl because she networks. She's able to pull things from different places. And the nominating committee, Jack, our friend who's on the nominating committee, he actually recommended me because he saw all these good things about me and how I could pull things from different places and give suggestions to the board. And I guess the second thing is that the second question you had is our board of directors meets monthly. Usually it's like the second or third Wednesday of the second or third Monday of the month, and then I share some of the things that I've learned. Like I learned about self-direction. We talk about self-direction. We talk about managed care. We talk about some of the information I discussed with you guys at SANYS. I bring it to them and share it with them. So, and also as well as they give me information discreetly that I can share certain amounts of it with you guys as well.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Jessica. Stephanie, can you tell us where your bill is and what stage you're working on now as far as that's concerned?
Right now, they're determined that to pass the bill. It's in the transportation committee. And they're supposed to take it out like they're hoping that the session starts in January. And Crystal Peoples is working with Tim Kennedy.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna check in with Alan. I know he was having some internet difficulties. Alan, are you able to ask our next question for Jessica? Or would you like me to do that?
When I came off, I may be able to, yes.
Okay, I think I can hear you well enough. So why don't you give it a try? If not, I can repeat it if she doesn't hear you.
Can you, self-advocacy group asked for a meeting when they were the director?
Jessica,
Tamika, can you repeat that?
okay, so the question is, can a self-advocacy group ask for a meeting with their director?
Yes, I know our agency has an open door policy with the director of the agency. So anybody from citizens and anybody from HRC Nassau and even staff can talk to him. So yes, if any self-advocate can talk to the director of the provider agency.
All right.
May I intrude?
No, we're not taking questions right now. We're still in our panel. But if you raise your hand, we'll get you in the queue if you have a question. So our last question is for everyone, and we'll start with JR with this. What advice would you have for people who would like to do, to meet with their legislators or, anything like that?
Just do it. I think that you are a citizen of this country, and our fundamental right is to petition our government. It's a First Amendment right, and we should be doing that. And particularly this community that is often forgotten needs to do this, because in Albany in Washington, we are not being appropriately protected, or not, protect is the wrong word, appropriately being addressed as citizens of the world. And it is our duty as citizens to participate in this government. We don't have self-government without the people of our communities participating, engaging, being involved. And whether it's as Judy said earlier, all of the work that they've done. I follow a hashtag #CryptTheVote, because it's a great way to learn what folks are doing around this country for people with disabilities. And it was even talked about on election night that the disabled community was engaged and actively made a difference in elections this November. When the politicians start to understand that the disabled community makes a difference in them getting elected or not getting elected, they start to listen. And so that's why we all need to participate in this democracy.
I think they said we made up 15% of the vote.
Okay. Is that what you said, JR?
I don't know that it was 15. I don't have the number, but I do know it was significant, and it made a difference. And CNN specifically raised the fact that #CryptTheVote had made a difference in various elections, and that had never happened before. Never happened before.
Okay, thank you. Jessica, same question for you. What advice would you give to people that want to meet with their directors or want to meet with their legislators?
Well, so I guess one of the things I learned from my sub-advocacy group was like always try to step up to something higher up, you know, that will make you stand out there more. Like my goal for the future is I want to be working in the White House like Chester Finn did. So that's my goal. It's going to take small steps to get there. But yes, if that's what you want to do, you want to meet with your director, take those small steps to get on the board of directors. Take those tiny steps. If that's really what you want, say that's what I want, and you take those tiny steps to get there.
Okay, thank you. Kevin, sorry. Kevin, do you have any advice for people that would want to meet with their legislators or their directors?
Yes, I really think right now we are citizens of the world because we are fighting this thing together.
Okay, thank you. And finally, Stephanie, what advice would you give to people that want to?
Just do it. The politicians work for you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay.
Something else for the shirt.
All right. So the final thing that I want to share is there are a few websites where you can get information about who your elected officials are. And a couple of them, it's USA.gov, and also Vote 411. You can see this on your screen right now, where you can figure out who your US senators are and your local representatives, state representatives. So this is a website, or if you don't know who your officials are, you can look them up. So now we are going to go to questions. Remember, please wait until you are called on. We have a queue in the chat box of who is in line. Please don't unmute yourself unless you are called on. Okay. And so I believe our first person is, and again, we will try to get to as many people as we can. So try to keep your questions as concise as possible for our panelists. So our first question, we're going to go to Zephyr.
I got a comment. Okay, I should be independent myself because I have one in the house. It's called Social Security Marriage Penalty, and I'm trying to get the other one in the house called the death penalty. Same thing, Social Security death penalty. So if I have two in the house and I'm also the board of directors of the agency, I should be independent, but that doesn't excuse me. So. And for the what's his name? The lawyer? What's his name? JR.
Okay.
Okay. Who do I meet for the second one? It's called the Social Security death penalty. Can I meet for the president, or can I go to the House?
I think that both the presidential, the administration, and your local congressman and state U.S. senator are important to make those changes in the Social Security Administration. I do know that the Biden administration is putting out some major public policies with respect to Social Security and with respect to the safety net. And I think that you should understand what they're proposing and then aggressively go to your congressman to get that support for that package.
Okay, so
All right. Oh, thank you for that question, Zephyr. Our next person is Crystal.
How I heard the vaccine thing coming out. Will everybody get that, or just certain people?
Crystal, that is a great question, but this panel is not really focused on that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. But maybe somebody can help you offline get some more information about that. Okay.
Oh, yep.
Okay. Thank you.
You're
All right.
welcome.
Our next person is Ed.
Hi, and thank you very much, John, for coming on. John, I'm having a little what they call draw dropping announcement. Instead of voting, I am going to run for politics myself. I'm going as a first ward alderman here in the city of Oneonta. Would you give any advice for somebody who wants to throw a ring in the hat and make a difference for people with disabilities like myself who want to run for office instead of, and vote for the person of your choice?
Well, that's a great question. And a number of years ago, I actually was the campaign manager for Doug Uziak, who some of you may know ran the West New York Independent Living Center. And he is legally blind. And it was an interesting race we ran. And Doug actually used that to his advantage in terms of getting PR and stuff like that. We weren't successful, but it did work. I do believe that individuals with disabilities can and should run for office. And I know that at least one new congressman is disabled. And I think that those are the kinds of things. And you start at the local level, like you just said, as alderman in Oneonta, a place near and dear to my heart. And you got to get a level of support, friends, relatives, business people, develop a platform and advocate for your community and for the needs of the disabled community.
All right, thank you.
Can I jump in here for a second?
No, I'm sorry. Yes, go ahead,
Yeah.
Larry. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, in order to get to run, you need a certain amount of support from your local politicians. So one of the things you want to do is start working with your local party clubs or whatever. Start helping other candidates go out and knock on doors, make phone calls, write letters, do everything you can so that when it comes time for you to run, they know you, they like you. You just can't walk up and decide, oh, by the way, you've been working in a party for 15 years, I'm running, and expect to get too much support. So anyway, so you have to start. It's not going to be instant. It takes a while to get known and to build the relationships you need. And it's all about relationships. And as you're doing that, you're also getting supporters into these levels of government so that you have people who understand your issues and the issues of the community who are going to be natural allies even before you get in to do it yourself.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that question, Ed. We're going to go to Mike Orzell.
I was only gonna say to John, I don't know if we ever met, but I was working on the USAC campaign alongside worship about 30 years ago. I know that you have to be known to your constituency before you run. So if you have any inclination to running, then get out in your community yesterday and get to know people, get to work at the grassroots level.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Michael. All right, our next person is Steve Fleischer.
Yeah, I just want to say, I'm talking to John about John.
Okay, go ahead.
John.
What's the question?
I'm a cat advocate. I'm a cat advocate for people with disability. What do you do? What do you do for what? I want to know what he does for a living. I did not understand what. I did not know what he does for a living.
JR, do you understand the question?
Sure. As I said, I actually am a paid lobbyist. I'm registered with the JCOPE, this commission that regulates New York State lobbyists, and I'm paid actually by a provider association, DAWNY, which is the Developmental Disability Alliance of West New York. I'm also a lawyer and have a private practice here in West New York. So that's kind of my post-legislative career.
Thank you.
Okay, and John, I believe we had another question for you in the chat. I don't remember who it came from specifically, and I don't know how you feel about answering this question, but you can let us know. They asked if you yourself are a person with a disability, that people want to know.
I am not. I have worked with individuals with disabilities, but I am not disabled.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. So our next person, and I think this is going to be our last person for this session, is Sean Stevenson.
I already asked Sophia. I'm having issues with pressing the button on the precision system. You know what I mean? The blue button, the hand button's not working on my end.
Okay, so you didn't have a question for our panelists?
No.
Oh, okay. All right then. All right, so with that, then I'm gonna hand it over to our board member, Michelle Rosenberger. Is Michelle on?
Yes, I'm on.
Okay, so you're gonna close us out for this section?
Huh?
We're gonna thank our panelists. You're gonna do that part?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I would like to thank all the how do you
Presenters.
Huh?
Presenters.
Presenters from sharing the information with us. It was really
really annoying.
Interesting.
Interesting. Next, we will be having options network breakout hosted by me and Robert T. And after that, we will break until 6, which time the evening session will start. We hope you all enjoy the statewide conference so far. I am looking forward to seeing you back at 6 p.m. Thank you.